Hi, I'm Carl and I'm an architect based in the UK. Welcome to the first episode of my new series, Genius Terrace House Hacks. Now, I'm new to this YouTube thing. I'm recording these videos, staring into the back of the phone and pretending to be natural. This is about the 25th take, and I think it's going to have to do. What I am really good at is being an architect and helping people redesign their homes. So, in this series, I'm going to show you how to creatively redesign a classic terrace house to create space, improve functionality, and bring in natural light. Ready? Let's get started. Hi, I'm going to look at redesigning this house that I went to see recently. There were a number of things that stuck out to me that you could actually quite easily fix, I think, and do it without extending. I'll look at an extended option as well, just to show how that or what that might cost. But I think generally the house is one of those classic terraced houses, long and thin. It's about 4 meters wide. Internally, someone's knocked the dining room and the living room together at some point, taking out this wall, which creates quite a long, thin space, which actually was furnished. You can see in the photos here, was furnished the dining, lift it up to the camera, a dining room and a living room. You see the dining table there, which is time of sofas in here. It sort of just becomes quite a long, thin room. So I think that doesn't work that well. And I think generally people are not looking. People by people, I mean people I deal with, clients and homeowners, don't generally ask for a lounge diner. They want that kind of function associated with the kitchen. So when we move into the kitchen, this is relatively narrow as well. They're about 2.7, I think, across here, 2.7 meters. The big problem is that at the back of the house, which is a typical thing in these terrace houses where things were kind of added on as they were needed later on. So often you'll find a bathroom there, which is even worse because you can't walk through a bathroom, so you often have to go out the side and along. This is a utility room with a boiler and a larder, so you can get through it, but it doesn't provide you with a living space that's looking at the garden. And in this house in particular, nice south facing garden, it would be nice to be able to enjoy that without sort of going through a utility room or out the side and down a passage. There is a dining space in this house as well, so the kitchen is big enough. You can just about see in the picture there. There's a dining table in the back of the kitchen, so it is big enough. So there are sort of two dining spaces, which seems a little overkill. Upstairs, three decent sized bedrooms, but this one's made smaller by a sort of rather large, too large bathroom, sort of three things spaced out. You can make that more compact and get a bigger bedroom here. So we end up with two equal size kind of kids' bedrooms, which I think saves family conflict at some point and just makes a bit more sense. Overall, the house is about 115 square meters, I think. So it's quite a decent size. And actually, just as a sort of sale price thing for these houses in Portsmouth, 385,000 divided by 115 is £3,347 a square metre, which is actually pretty good value, I think, compared to some areas. Recently, I've been looking at a house a little smaller, maybe 90 square metres in Hampstead in North London, and that was working out £19,000 a square metre. And a terrace house I saw in Winchester recently, which has been nicely refurbished, but was something like nearly just over £10,000 a square metre for basically what was a two up, two down terrace house. But it's a good example of one. So pretty good value. I'm just going to look at the sort of different design options as part of this exercise. So what we have here, you can just see the sort of problem areas we're going to try and fix. One is that you've got this blocking the route to the south facing garden. Another is we've got a long thin space here, and the other is that actually this bathroom is huge and this bedroom not so. So I think the first thing we'd want to be doing on the ground floor, there's a couple of different solutions I think that I can think of. I haven't really drawn them yet, so doing this on the fly, but we'd want to get rid of those walls for sure, get rid of the boiler in that location, get rid of the kitchen all the way down there, get rid of this, get rid of those windows and just a window and a door. and we'd want to get rid of this wall, I'm probably going to relocate that door, get rid of the bath there, and get rid of that door as well, and we're going to get rid of that door. More will become clear. We'll get rid of that door. I think that sort of does it. Get rid of that sink there. So those are the sort of things that we're going to get rid of, and here's one I did earlier. So sticking to my tracing paper. So first option, I think, which is the simplest, so we'll start with the simplest option, is to move the utility room, which is a useful thing to have, and a downstairs toilet, which this house doesn't have, from here to this location here in the back of the kitchen. The reason being is that's light, opens onto the garden. This is dark, doesn't open anywhere. So trying to find a place for utility rooms and toilets that doesn't block gardens and they don't need light. You can mechanically ventilate them with a fan. So what I'd think to do would be to take, you need about, say, 1.8 meters for a utility room. That gives you 3 modules and about 1.5 wide. Now, one other issue with this house that I didn't mention on this here, and it's typical with these houses, when you come in the front door, you see a blank wall and you see darkness. There's no views into these rooms, so this is, that door's often closed or swings the wrong way, so when you do look in, you see more blank. So that leads me to think that that door's in the wrong place, and what I would do is move it over so it moves into this location here. Then you get a nice view when you come in the front door through the house, because we're clearing out the back of the house there. We're going to see right through to the garden, which leads you through the house, makes the house feel larger, and gives you a kind of purpose for the purpose for going through the house rather than just seeing a blank wall at the end, a dark blank wall. So that's the first move. Then we're going to put a wall in here, and we're going to add in a wall there, and add in a door, and we'll add in a toilet here, which is about 900 mil wide. Keep that window, just split it into 2, and then that becomes a good utility room. You can have got your window there that you could enlarge, but if we're on a sort of budget, then we just leave it and put a different window in with a frame member where the wall is, and then that door could open into there. This door would open there. Could be glazed to get a bit of light into this hallway. Then that's 3 modules. So you could have a sink, tumble dryer, and a washing machine down there. And gives you a good space then for the kitchen, which would run all the way through here. So keep the windows, and then you could have maybe a 3 meter run of cupboards, which give you 5 units, and have an L shape here, and then you can have a table, rounded ends, so it doesn't feel sort of soft in the space and the sharp corners. Then some sort of doors across the back. Could be French doors just here, and a low window. There's a picture I found in a magazine, I think. In these small houses, we've possibly gone all a bit mad with bifolds, and rifling through. Well, while I'm here, this is a good opportunity to do something on this wall, these sort of larders, because they're not as deep as a full kitchen, so you can have something over on this side as well. So you can have a sink here, maybe the cooker in here, and then some full height cupboards here. Try and keep this end of the kitchen open and get some extra storage on the opposite side. So this works quite well. So probably, where is it? In Paris probably. Looks like Paris, doesn't it? Instead of having 3 big openings or big bifold doors, there's just low windows that all open in, because it's in France. I guess we tend to make them open out, but you just have doors to get out onto the terrace, and then you can sit out. You don't need to get out everywhere. I think so. Perhaps being a bit more strategic about where windows and doors are located, that would mean that you'd have a window like that. So you'd have a full height door here, and then a low windowsill here that could also open out for some fresh air. And that would mean that you're kind of, where you're walking through the house, you're going to go out there, you're unlikely to go round and out that way. And it means probably you could have a little chair or something here and still look out over the garden. So that's that working quite well, I think. You've got your garden out the back, so the passage right here. And then we just leave the front in this version as it is, no change. So it's just taking out, there'd be a beam that would be needed across there to support the wall above. Other than that, it's pretty simple. These are non-load bearing partitions. You wouldn't need a door here actually. We'd want to put the door somewhere like there. Doesn't swing into the room, but uses the corridor space as the door. Upstairs, I think to make that bathroom bigger, we'd want to use something like, using my sort of ancient guide to rooms and bathrooms, so a good sized bathroom, 2350 by 1700. We're kind of fixed with that length, but the 2350 is the length. So if we draw, I can't quite draw that precisely, but we'll go 2.4. Keep that. That there. That basically means that room gets the whole of the bath bigger, and we can keep the window where it is, save some money of moving that, and we might have put the bath here. Then we put the toilet up this end under the window, and then put the basin with a mirror above it here. And that would mean I would actually put the door, I'd move the door down a bit. So when you come in the room, you see the basin and the mirror, which will make, I think it make it feel lighter. You're not sort of seeing straight onto the toilet. Then you put the door to that bedroom in the corridor, which makes the room, gives you the full room, and that will give you room for a wardrobe, either fitted or just a sort of freestanding thing. Get a double bed in there, and I'd make that window wider as well for similar reasons as downstairs, that you can see through. Then it just brings more light into the room, and you could do that as long as it's not a listed building or conservation area under permitted development, meaning you don't need planning permission. Just do it, but you do need building regulations approval for moving and opening like that, because it's structural. So in these areas here, these bedrooms are pretty good, but you could just look at door positions. If that door were positioned so you could get a wardrobe behind it, I think that means the door opens onto it and just makes the room feel sort of bigger, because you haven't got a great big wardrobe in the way. You could have a bed then in this location. And then in this room, I think simple improvement is move the door into the corridor so it doesn't swing into the room. So that all works quite well, I think. The downside of this, I think, is that this corridor space here is long and thin. Longer and thinner, rather, so it increases the length of the corridor. And I think that's what I would fix with the next solution, which is what I would do if I bought this house. And I think, you could be looking at, you've got a new kitchen which can cost you between, depends where you go really, but 10, 15, 20, 25. I think for a house like this you'd probably spend 15 to 20, and then the works to move that ensuite might cost you 10,000 or so, and then this solution would be a little more expensive because you're moving it into a different location that you'll see, but fundamentally not that different. So what I'm thinking here is to fix all of the problems. So that solution sort of fixed the problem of moving the dining room, moving dining room to the back and removing the block to the garden. This solution will also fix the problem I think there is with this dining and lounge area, which is too long and thin to be usable. And I think the thing to do then is to move the utility room to this space. So you could take out from 1.5 to 1.8 to 2.1. I think if you think about kind of cupboard widths and things, if you've got a 60 centimetre run, that's 60. You need 90 between them as a minimum, and then another 60. That is 210, 2100, 2.1 metres. So I think that would be a good depth, because then you get the most cupboards. So I would take 2.1, and it lines up roughly with the back of the chimney, and that gives a nice big utility laundry room in here. Probably the door can stay exactly where it is, because we're going to run a worktop across there and cupboards, and then maybe full height cupboards here. I think that's about nearly 1.8, so you're almost going to get 3 modules there, and that's a great place for coats and other stuff, because you don't have that space in these sort of narrow hallways. I'd keep those French doors out to the garden, brings plenty of light in. You can open the doors up for fresh air, and there's a good route down for, you could try washing down in this side passage potentially, as well as out in the garden. And then this wall here, this is about 3 meters, so you've got 5 modules in there. So you can have a sink, have a washing machine, you have a tumble dryer, you could have another full height cupboard, or there's a range of different storage solutions there. And there's probably a bit of room on that wall to hang an ironing board, and this space here to actually do some ironing in the morning. The sun will be coming in here in sort of 11 o'clock, so that's the time to iron maybe. Then in the living room here, you've then got a nice proportioned room here, and put the door at the back of the room, because that just enables you to sort of put more furniture in the room. You could pull it down and put something behind, but I think I'd just put it as quite close to that back wall, and then I'd make that door part of some sort of glazed screen, either a metal or Crittle style type screen, or you could do that in timber in here. And I think, so I'll have a look at these magazines, see what other ideas we've got here. I knocked out a few things. So that's interesting for a table. I think just that kind of rounded edge of those tables that project out into the room just makes that sort of difference as a sort of softer object in the camera. But that sort of screen represented in the mirror and that kind of thing. That's what I've got in mind. To here, so that fixes that, I think, quite well. And then this space under the stair, you see there's a lot in these houses, so we're going to move that door over to there. Got a solid wall in there, bit of a wall. Under the stair, a window, turn the door into a window, and put a toilet under the stairs there. This door could open out to make, because the room's quite small, and actually in if you built a new build house, the toilet doors have to open outwards for accessibility reasons, so some sort of good sense in doing it here. And then you end up with a really good long kitchen. We're going to keep all the windows as they are just for the simplicity, and we're going to do our French doors as the picture here. So I'll have those doors there, and then a window there, and then we can have a sofa in here. But we'll start at this end. 4.2, I think, will give you 7 sort of standard modules. I have a sink here, sort of a stove top here, and then maybe an oven, a larder, and a fridge oven. And then keep this end of the unit low, or don't have full height cupboards at that end, because then you can sort of see past it. Makes the room feel bigger, I think. Then you've got room for that sort of round ended dining table that could be fixed to the wall or could be something you can pull out and get at least 5 people for busier times. We could have the larder cupboard that you saw here. This door, I'd actually probably make it open into the hallway, and it could be a glazed door that matches this door, as could this door, and you could just have sort of translucent glass on it, so you get light from here into this hallway. So this hallway starts to feel nice and light. And our sofa sits up here, and have a television on the wall here. You could have a drinks cabinet, something here. You have an indoor plant or something that you can start to see through, and then a couple of armchairs, little tub chairs just in here. So it creates a nice cosy living room right through there. That's your sort of route through there. Now these sort of narrow spaces, you could have something sort of reflective on that side, and there was a picture I'd seen in a magazine. Let's go through. So here, there's this reflective wall. I'm not sure I really like the tiles they've used, but the idea is that actually it's quite a narrow space, and something reflected on there just gives a bit of depth to the room, I think, that sort of offers something. And then just also looking at this kitchen here, they put cupboards in front of the windows, which I thought was quite neat. You couldn't see that the windowsill is just down below, but that kind of cupboard all the way along could be something you could use here and put the furniture on the other side of the room and flip the doors over, so the kitchen could run all the way down the side. So you could have kind of those sort of cupboards all the way down there, and then the dining table could sort of sit there, and the sofa there, and you could have a sort of media bit there, and the doors fit that way with the window. So you sort of flip the room over, which in some ways gives a bit of variety to how you move through the room, rather than all down one side. So that might be something quite interesting to do. The main reason for picking this up is actually a table in that room. Although the room isn't wide enough for a full island, actually, if you didn't do the larder on that side, you could add in, just do it in pencil, but you could add in a thin table through here, a bit like that picture in that room, which would act as a sort of movable island that could move over to this wall. You could move it out, could be on little wheels. And you've got a sort of cooking for a few more people and all. Okay, so I think that sort of sums it up really, in terms of the sort of fix those key problems, move the utility room into the middle of the plan, got a downstairs toilet, a big utility room and laundry room, much bigger kitchen dining space, a smaller but more useful lounge. And then the only other thing to sort of really reflect on is extending the space, which I think when you hear the numbers to do that, the amount it would cost, you think, don't want to do that. So if we extended down the side, which is the classic thing to do, to infill that space here. All of these houses have a single story back extension that if you start knocking out the side of it and changing the doors on the back, you basically knock down. So you end up replacing that as well. You end up with a big beam all the way down here, structural beam somewhere in here, something across here, probably something in this area as well. You end up blocking light into this room as well, and it costs you about 70 grand plus VAT to do that, plus a kitchen. So you're into 100 grand project. And when you see the house is 385, I'd go and find a house for 465 that had most of this in and spend 20 grand on it to put a new kitchen in or some refurb works. Uh, so I can't see that this is a good option for this kind of house. And I think it's 115 square meters. It's a pretty big 3-bed house. I think some internal mods would be the best way to go. So hope you enjoyed that. A few little design ideas made up on the fly, really, but I think there's some sort of often standard things you can do. So this is done for this house, but actually the similar ideas apply to others. But the interesting thing about these terrace houses, and I think why I find them so interesting to sort of mess around with and redesign, is that they're all slightly different. There are some fundamental house types, but most of them have got slightly different problems. But the commonalities are, I think, moving stuff away from the back. The initial ideas I highlighted, the proportion of rooms and things blocking views to gardens, I think are the key things. Improving the flow through a house and improving light and general aspect. Okay, thanks very much.